Life is not meant to hand you everything on a silver platter. If that were the case, we wouldn't need faith, we wouldn't need discipline, and we wouldn't need growth. The struggles you're facing are the very things that shape you into who you're supposed to be. You cannot become strong without resistance. You cannot become wise without mistakes. You cannot become resilient without storms. Every person you admire today went through some kind of trial. Success stories don't start with comfort. They start with pressure, with disappointment, with setbacks. Life tests you to see if you're ready for the next level. And if you fold at the first sign of trouble, how are you ever going to handle the weight of the blessing that's coming? It's easy to look at someone who's made it and assume it was smooth sailing. But what you didn't see were the late nights, the tears, the failures, the doors that slammed shut in their face. You didn't see how many times they almost gave up, but they didn't. That's why they are where they are. When things get tough, you've got two choices: quit or keep pushing. Quitting looks easy in the moment, but it'll haunt you for the rest of your life. Keep pushing, and even if it takes longer than you expected, you'll eventually break through. Every challenge is designed to reveal your strength. It's not there to destroy you, it's there to prepare you. If you're in the middle of a storm, don't assume it's the end. It might just be the training ground for what's ahead. You're not supposed to have it all figured out right away. That confusion, that chaos, that uncertainty, it's part of the journey. Trust that God's not wasting your pain. Trust that He's building something inside of you that you'll need for the road ahead. Life ain't supposed to be easy, because easy never changes you. The grind, the hustle, the fight, that's what molds you into the person God always intended for you to be. Pain is not random. Every hurt you've ever felt, every loss you've ever endured, every battle you've ever faced had meaning behind it. God doesn't waste pain. What feels like punishment is often preparation. The things that broke your heart were often the same things that taught you how to heal. When you look back at the hardest moments in your life, you'll notice they taught you the most. You grew stronger, wiser, tougher. You found out who your real friends were. You found out what you were truly capable of. Pain has a way of introducing you to yourself in a way comfort never can. We often pray for strength, and then when life puts us in situations that require it, we ask God to take it away. But that very storm is the answer to your prayer. You can't get strong without resistance. You can't get courage without fear. You can't get faith without uncertainty. Sometimes the things that hurt you the most are the things that push you to your destiny. If that relationship hadn't ended, you wouldn't have discovered your independence. If that job hadn't let you go, you wouldn't have chased your dream. If that door hadn't closed, you wouldn't have found the one that opened. The truth is, scars are not signs of weakness. Scars are proof that you survived something that was meant to destroy you. Scars mean you made it through. Scars mean you're still standing. And as long as you're still standing, God can still use you. Don't curse the pain. Don't despise it. Learn from it. Grow from it. Let it refine you instead of define you. Let it remind you that nothing you went through was wasted. Pain has a purpose, and if you trust God with it, He'll turn what was meant to harm you into the very thing that launches you into your next chapter. Fear will paralyze you if you let it. It whispers in your ear, telling you all the reasons why you can't make it, why you shouldn't try, why you're not good enough. And if you believe it, you'll never step into the life God designed for you. Fear doesn't show up when you're doing nothing. Fear shows up when you're on the verge of something big. The presence of fear is actually confirmation that you're moving in the right direction. It's proof that you're stepping outside of your comfort zone and into your calling. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is moving forward even when fear is screaming at you. Every time you choose faith over fear, you grow stronger. Every time you take a step, despite the trembling, you prove to yourself that fear doesn't control you. God didn't give you a spirit of fear. He gave you a spirit of power, of love, and of a sound mind. That means fear is not from Him. It's a distraction. It's the enemy's way of keeping you small, keeping you stuck, keeping you from chasing your destiny. Think about how many opportunities people miss because they're afraid. Afraid of rejection, afraid of failure, afraid of looking foolish. But the truth is, failure doesn't kill you. Rejection doesn't destroy you. Quitting does. You've got to decide who you're going to listen to, fear or faith. One wows. It'll shrink your world, the other will expand it. One will keep you chained, the other will set you free. One will silence your dreams, the other will amplify them. Don't let fear run your life. Let faith lead you into places fear never wanted you to see. Quitting will always present itself as the easy way out. It tells you, just stop, walk away, you don't have to deal with this anymore. And for a moment, quitting feels like relief. But the truth is, every time you quit, you plant regret inside of you that doesn't go away. Regret is heavier than failure because at least with failure, you tried. Winning is not for the faint of heart. Winning requires guts, grit, and determination. It means facing opposition, dealing with setbacks, and still refusing to back down. Anybody can quit. Anybody can walk away when life gets too hard. But the people who win are the ones who hang in there when everything inside of them is screaming to stop. The hardest battles always come before the biggest breakthroughs. Think about it. Why would the enemy fight you so hard if there wasn't something valuable on the other side? Every obstacle you're facing is proof that you're on the edge of something significant. When you feel like quitting, remind yourself of why you started. Go back to the vision, go back to the promise, go back to the dream God placed in your heart. Don't let temporary pain make you walk away from permanent blessings. Every champion has scars. Every winner has a history of failure, but the difference between them and the ones who gave up is simple. They didn't quit. They kept showing up. They kept trying. They kept moving forward. Quitting will rob you of the future God wants for you. Don't let a moment of weakness erase years of effort. Push through the pain, because that's where the reward is. Winning takes guts, but the feeling of victory after refusing to quit is worth every tear, every sleepless night, every moment of doubt. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want things fast. Fast food, fast money, fast results. But God doesn't operate on our clock. He doesn't rush just because we're impatient. His timing is perfect, and if you can learn to trust it, you'll stop stressing over delays. Sometimes the hardest part of faith is waiting. Waiting when nothing is happening. Waiting when the doors are closed. Waiting when it feels like God forgot about you. But those seasons of waiting are where your character is built, where your patience grows, where your trust deepens. Delay doesn't mean denial. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. God may be preparing things behind the scenes that you can't see. He might be protecting you from something you don't even know is coming. His no's and his not yets are often blessings in disguise. Think about it. If you had gotten everything you prayed for exactly when you wanted it, would you have been ready to handle it? Sometimes the reason God makes you wait is because He's preparing you to receive what you asked for. A blessing too soon can feel like a burden. The waiting room of life is uncomfortable, but it's not wasted. God uses that time to strengthen your faith, sharpen your skills, and align circumstances in your favor. You may feel stuck, but you're not stagnant. Something is moving even if you can't see it. Stop comparing your timeline to someone else's. What God has for them is theirs, and what God has for you is yours. Trust that your season is coming. Trust that your breakthrough is scheduled. Trust God's timing because He knows exactly when to open the door, and when He does, it'll be better than you ever imagined. One of the fastest ways to lose your joy is to start comparing your life to somebody else's. You look at what they have, what they're doing, how far ahead they seem, and suddenly you feel like you're behind. But comparison is a trap because you're not meant to walk their path. You're meant to walk yours. Social media makes it worse. You scroll and see highlight reels of other people's lives, not realizing that they have struggles too. They just don't post them. And while you're comparing your behind the scenes to their polished version, you rob yourself of gratitude for what God has already done in your life. God didn't create you to be a copy. He made you unique with a specific purpose that nobody else can fulfill. Your assignment is yours alone. That means your timeline is yours too. Just because it's taking longer for you doesn't mean you failed. It means your journey is tailor-made. Comparison steals more than joy. It steals focus. Instead of working on your calling, you waste time wishing you had theirs. Instead of watering your garden, you're staring at your neighbors. And while you're distracted, your own blessings are sitting untouched. Every time you look at someone else's progress, remind yourself that God's not done with you yet. Where you are now is not where you'll always be. Your story is still being written, and every page matters. Celebrate others without envying them. Clap for their success while trusting that yours is coming too. Their win doesn't mean your loss. There's enough room for all of us at the table of success. Don't compare your journey, because the path God designed for you is more beautiful than anything you could copy from someone else. Praying is powerful, believing is necessary, but if you're not willing to put in the effort, you're wasting your potential. Faith is not a license to sit and wait. It's the fuel that drives you to act. God will open the door, but you still have to walk through it. Too many people sit around waiting for something to fall into their lap. They pray for change, but don't change their habits. They pray for opportunity, but don't prepare for it. Faith without action is nothing more than wishful thinking. God responds to movement. When you step out in faith, when you take action toward your goals, you show Him you're serious. That's when doors start opening, connections start forming, and blessings start flowing. Don't mistake laziness for faith. Sitting back and saying, God will handle it while you do nothing is not faith, it's avoidance. Real faith says, I believe God will make a way, but I'm going to put in the work to meet Him halfway. Think about it like farming. You can pray for a harvest, but if you never plant seeds, you'll starve. Prayer without planting is empty. Faith without work is dead. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, you activate your faith. Every effort you make is proof that you trust God enough to move. And God honors effort. He blesses diligence. He rewards persistence. Faith without work is dead, but faith with work is unstoppable. Failure is not the end of your story. Too often people treat failure like it's permanent, like it's a label that defines them forever, but failure is not who you are. It's an event, and events can change. Every successful person you admire has a history of failure. They've been rejected, overlooked, doubted, and told no. But instead of letting failure stop them, they used it as fuel. Failure taught them what didn't work so they could find out what did. Failure is a teacher, not a tombstone. It gives you lessons that success never could. Success makes you celebrate, but failure makes you evaluate. Success can make you comfortable, but failure keeps you hungry. The only way failure becomes final is if you quit. If you give up after falling, then yes, failure wins. But if you get back up, if you try again, if you refuse to let it define you, then failure becomes a stepping stone to your future. Stop being afraid of failing. The fear of failure stops more people than failure itself. At least if you fail, you know you tried. But if you let fear keep you from trying, you'll always wonder, what could have been? Every no is just redirecting you toward the right yes. Every closed door is guiding you to the right opportunity. Every stumble is teaching you how to walk stronger next time. Failure is not final unless you quit. As long as you keep moving, your story is still unfolding. Not everybody deserves a front row seat in your life. Some people are in your circle, but they are not in your corner. They smile in your face, but behind the scenes, they drain your energy, plant doubt in your mind, and discourage you from moving forward. If you're serious about trusting God and never quitting, you have to get serious about who you surround yourself with. Your circle should push you to grow, not pull you down. If the people around you always keep you comfortable, you're in the wrong circle. Comfort doesn't challenge you, and without challenge, there is no growth. Surround yourself with people who see the greatness in you even when you can't see it yourself. Energy is contagious. If you spend all your time with complainers, you'll become a complainer. If you hang with people who constantly make excuses, you'll start making excuses. But if you stay around people who speak life, who push through storms, who chase purpose, their fire will ignite yours. Don't feel guilty about outgrowing people. Everyone isn't meant to go with you to the next level. Sometimes God will separate you from certain relationships because they were never supposed to be permanent. They were there for a season, not a lifetime. Check the fruit of the people in your life. Do they inspire you? Do they encourage you? Do they help you get closer to God and to your dreams? Or do they keep you stuck in the same cycles year after year? You can't afford to keep toxic connections if you want to keep moving forward. The right circle will remind you of your why when you forget. They'll pray for you when you can't pray for yourself. They'll push you when you want to quit. That's the power of having the right people around you. Keep your circle right, because the company you keep can either build your faith or bury your future. Everyone loves the idea of a dream. Everybody wants the glory, but not everybody is willing to pay the price. Dreams cost something. They require discipline, long nights, early mornings, and sometimes losing friends who don't understand your grind. If you're not willing to sacrifice, your dream will stay a fantasy. Sacrifice means saying no to temporary pleasures for long-term gains. While others are partying, you might be studying. While others are sleeping, you might be working. While others are wasting time, you're investing it. That's the difference between people who talk about their dreams and people who actually live them. You can't pray for greatness and expect it to come without sweat. God gives you the vision, but He also expects you to steward it with commitment. That means showing up even when you don't feel like it. That means being consistent, even when nobody notices. The truth is, most people quit not because they lacked talent, but because they weren't willing to sacrifice. They wanted comfort more than they wanted the calling. They wanted convenience more than they wanted destiny. Every great story has a season of sacrifice behind it. Ask any athlete, entrepreneur, or leader. They'll tell you about the years of discipline, the things they gave up, the times they pushed through exhaustion. That's the price of chasing a dream. Sacrifice is not punishment, it's preparation. It's God stripping away distractions so you can focus on the assignment He gave you. It's Him teaching you that what you're building is worth the cost. Dreams take sacrifice, but the payoff is a life filled with purpose, not just comfort. You think you know what's best for your life, but God sees the whole picture. You see a piece, He sees the masterpiece. That's why sometimes He says no to your plan, not because He doesn't love you, but because His plan is greater. How many times have you prayed for something, didn't get it, and years later realized it was the best thing that ever happened? That door you begged God to open would have destroyed you. That person you thought you needed would have distracted you. That opportunity you thought was everything would have pulled you away from your purpose. God's plan doesn't always make sense in the moment. It can feel confusing, even frustrating. But if you trust Him, you'll look back one day and realize He knew exactly what He was doing. His thoughts are higher than your thoughts. His ways are higher than your ways. We often limit God with small thinking. We ask Him for just enough to survive, but He's trying to give us more than enough to thrive. We settle for crumbs when He's prepared a feast. We chase after small blessings while He's preparing a bigger breakthrough. When your plan falls apart, don't panic. That might be God's way of redirecting you. He's not trying to ruin your life. He's trying to align you with something greater. What you thought was rejection was really redirection. Stop clinging so tightly to your plan that you miss His. Trust that even when it looks like a setback, He's still working. Even when it feels like confusion, He's still in control. God's plan is bigger than your plan. And when you surrender to it, you'll find peace even in uncertainty. There will be seasons in your life when you work hard and nobody notices. You'll give your best effort and no one will applaud. You'll show up consistently and it feels like nobody cares. That's when you have to remind yourself you're not doing it for them. You're doing it because you believe in what God placed inside you. Recognition feels good, but it can't be your motivation. If you only move when people clap for you, you'll quit when they don't. True grit is when you keep pushing even in silence. The truth is, most people don't notice the grind. They only notice the glory. They see the results, but not the process. They clap at the finish line, not at the starting blocks. So don't expect applause during the climb. Just know it'll come after the breakthrough. When you're grinding in the dark, God sees it. Every tear you cry, every late night you endure, every sacrifice you make, He sees it all, and He rewards faithfulness, not popularity. Don't let silence make you think you're failing. Some of your greatest progress happens when nobody is watching. That's where character is built. That's where faith is tested. That's where champions are made. The key is to keep going, to stay consistent, to keep watering your seed even when there's no sign of growth. One day the harvest will come, and the same people who overlooked you will be amazed at what God did through you. Keep going when nobody's clapping, because the real audience that matters is God, and He never misses a performance. Every storm you go through feels like it will never end. The rain feels endless, the wind feels overwhelming, the thunder feels deafening. But storms are temporary. They always pass. The question is whether you'll hold on long enough to see the sunshine. Storms have a way of testing your foundation. They show you what you're built on. If your faith is shallow, the storm will shake you. But if your faith is rooted in God, the storm will prove how strong you really are. Don't let the storm fool you into thinking it's permanent. Trouble doesn't last always. Heartbreak doesn't last always. Struggles don't last always. Seasons change, and what feels heavy today will eventually lift. Sometimes the storm comes not to destroy you, but to cleanse you. It washes away the things and the people you didn't need. It clears the path for new growth. It prepares the soil for something fresh to rise. You don't have to like the storm, but you do have to learn from it. Let it strengthen your faith. Let it sharpen your perspective. Let it remind you that if you can survive the storm, you can handle the blessing on the other side. Don't forget, every rainbow comes after rain. Every breakthrough comes after a battle. Every testimony comes after a test. The storm is not your end. It's your setup. Storms don't last forever, and when the clouds finally clear, you'll realize you came out stronger than you went in. Your words carry weight. Too many people talk themselves out of their own blessing. They say, I can't, I'll never, it's impossible. And then they wonder why their life doesn't change. You can't keep speaking defeat and expect victory. What you say about yourself matters. If you constantly declare negativity, you program your mind to believe it. But when you start speaking life, when you say, I can, I will, God's got me, you align your mouth with your faith. The world already gives you enough doubt. You don't need to add to it by tearing yourself down. Be your own encourager. Speak affirmations over yourself daily. Remind yourself of the promises God made you, even when your circumstances don't match. Speaking life doesn't mean ignore. In reality, it means declaring that your reality doesn't define your destiny. Yes, the bills are due, but I'm still blessed. Yes, I failed, but I'm not finished. Yes, I'm tired, but I'm not quitting. That's the power of speaking life. Words create atmosphere. If you speak defeat, you live in defeat. If you speak faith, you live in expectation. Change your language and you'll start changing your mindset. Don't wait for others to affirm you. Sometimes you've got to prophesy over your own life. You've got to tell yourself, I am chosen, I am strong, I am equipped, I am unstoppable. Speak life over yourself daily, because your mouth can either build your future or bury it. Money can buy things, but it can't buy peace. It can fill your pockets, but it can't fill your soul. Too many people spend their lives chasing a paycheck while ignoring their purpose. And that's why they still feel empty even when the bank account looks good. Purpose is what fuels you when money isn't enough. Purpose is what makes you get up in the morning excited. Purpose is what gives meaning to the grind, even on the hardest days. When you live for purpose, money becomes a tool, not a master. There's nothing wrong with wanting financial success, but if it's your only goal, you'll always feel like something is missing. Money will come and go, but purpose lasts forever. Purpose outlives you. Purpose impacts generations. When you chase purpose, provision follows. God will fund what He has called you to do. He'll open doors, send opportunities, and bring resources your way when you're aligned with your assignment. That's why chasing purpose is more secure than chasing money. Think about the people who inspire you most. They're not remembered for their money. They're remembered for their impact. They're remembered for how they lived their purpose, how they touched lives, how they made a difference. Money can only satisfy the surface, but purpose satisfies the soul. And when your soul is fulfilled, you'll live a life that no paycheck could ever buy. Don't chase money, chase purpose, and you'll discover the kind of success that lasts forever. Problems scream loud. Bills, struggles, heartbreak, and stress. They all shout for your attention. But if you let your problems be bigger than your faith, you'll always feel defeated. You've got to make a choice every day. Am I going to focus on my problems, or am I going to focus on my God? Faith doesn't make problems disappear, but it gives you the strength to rise above them. It shifts your perspective from, this is too big for me, to this is not too big for God. And when your perspective shifts, your strength rises. Problems are temporary, but faith is eternal. Problems drain you, but faith fills you. Problems weaken you, but faith empowers you. Which one you give your focus to will determine how you live. Don't let the size of your problem make you forget the size of your God. He's bigger than the diagnosis. He's bigger than the debt. He's bigger than the heartbreak. Nothing you're facing is greater than the one who holds your life in His hands. Every battle you've survived so far is proof that your faith works. You faced things before that felt impossible, but you made it through. And the same God who carried you then will carry you now. Faith is not denial, it's determination. It's saying, yes, I see the mountain, but I believe it can move. Yes, I see the storm, but I believe it will pass. Yes, I feel the pain, but I believe healing is possible. Keep your faith bigger than your problems, because faith is the bridge that carries you from where you are to where God wants you to be. The reason you can't quit is because God hasn't quit on you. Even when you messed up, He was there. Even when you doubted Him, He was patient. Even when you turned away, He still covered you. If God never gave up on you, how can you give up on yourself? Think about how many times He protected you from things you didn't even know were coming. The accident that didn't happen, the opportunity that showed up at the right time, the closed door that saved you from disaster. That's proof He's been faithful even when you weren't. God's love is relentless. He doesn't walk away when you fail. He doesn't cross your name off the list when you stumble. He's the kind of Father who will chase after you, pick you up, and remind you that you still have purpose. That's why quitting is not an option. You can cry, you can rest, you can get frustrated, but you can't quit. Because every time you think it's over, God whispers, I'm not finished with you yet. If you knew how much He invested in you, you'd stop doubting yourself. He put gifts in you, talents in you, dreams in you, and He didn't put them there for you to bury them. He put them there for you to use them, to grow them, to live them. You've come too far to quit now. You've survived too much to walk away. The God who brought you through yesterday is the same God who will carry you into tomorrow. Never quit on God, because He never quits on you. And as long as He's breathing life into your body, your story is still being written.